that are sick and shed in, those that are bereaved. In your name I do pray. Amen.
Amen. Let's stand and pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gentlemen, you've got the agenda before you. We're at a stage where we can have modifications, and I'll begin it with our newspaper editor wanting to enter early because he's got other things going on. I want to put an alt number in there at the very beginning for Mr. Tommy Purser, whatever he wants to say. Is there any other additions or corrections to the agenda that you'd like to make? Hearing none, can I have a motion that we amend it to an alt?
I'll have a motion.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion, any opposed? Motion's carried. Okay, so I entertain a motion that we approve the agenda now as it amended.
Make a motion.
Mr. Griffin's made a motion, seconded by
Second.
Mr. Johnson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor of the amended agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the agenda is set. Mr. Purser, you're on.
Thank you very much. Y'all excuse me, I've been working in the yard, I'm just not dressed. My wife, the last thing she told me, said, "You're not really dressed for going," I said, "I'm sorry, I just wanted, I came here tonight just to remind, I watched the videos about the roundabouts and the concerns people have expressed, and I just wanted to refresh you guys' memory and to tell John, because he wasn't on, John Ramey, that he wasn't on, to kind of inform him about it. And I'll try to be quick. Several years ago, 2 or 3, I heard some talk about the DOT was doing roundabouts and they were really pushing them and so forth. And so I went to a GMA class, and the mayor was in the class with me. You may remember, Mayor, that they were talking about all the funding you could get and where you could get it and how you could get it and all this. It was a very informative session. But one of the things they said in there was a LMIG EEE program. That was, of course, you know what LMIG stands for.
Local Maintenance and Improvement.
Right. And there was education, emergency, and I can't remember what the third E was, but anyway. And they said, this is at the GMA, and this was per the Georgia Department of Transportation, that if it improves safety and driving around an educational environment around schools, that they would make an 80% grant, and the city would have to pay 20%. But if you were a T-SPLOST county, which we are, there's no match. So since I'd already heard that there was some talk about putting roundabouts in, that caught my attention, because it appeared to me, according to what we were told in the class, that we could get the roundabouts at no charge, and we wouldn't have to pay anything. So I asked y'all, and y'all agreed to allow me to seek the funding. And I went out and sought the funding, and I got a great deal of help from Carl Hofstadter, primarily State Senator Blake Tillery, and what's his name? Help me here with the DOT.
Gallery Russian.
No.
Mosley?
Brent Mosley. Those 3 helped me tremendously. And when the funding came in, they said we'd pay 90% or $250,000, whichever is less. Well, that depressed me, because that wasn't what I was told at that meeting, or we were told, that they said they'd pay 100% of it. So I was ready just to scrap the whole thing, because that was my whole reason for applying, because I thought we could get it for nothing, or the state would finance the whole thing. So anyway, I talked with Carl Hofstadter, and I said, "Carl, it's not going to work." And he said, "Well, I put a lot of things in on the," he had to send a cost estimate in that could be removed. And he said, "I think we do it for a lot cheaper, whatever." And then, of course, I've heard that the bid came in at $600,000, right? Am I right about that?
A little bit.
Well, that's, you know, and so, I didn't know what the bid came in, so I called Carl a couple of weeks ago and asked him, I said, Carl, what did the bid come in? And he said $600,000, and I said, the city doesn't have $350,000 to put into it, but he told me that he was, remove a few more things and get it down to $400,000, but still the city had to come in with $150,000. All right, that's where y'all stand today, as I understand it, am I right?
Generally, yes.
Generally, okay. What I wanted to remind you was that during all this negotiation and talking and trying to get the funding, that Blake Tillery, who worked real hard on this and worked with DOT, the state senator, he told me, and I told him, I said, $250,000 is not going to do it. We can't do it for $250,000. He said, well, let me tell you what you can do. He said, you can do one roundabout and then do a four-way stop at the other intersection. And you can get it done, and it won't cost you anything. You can use whatever it costs to do the four-way stop as your 10% match. And you remember, John, you came in and asked that the council approve four-way stops at both of those intersections until we got something done. So the council has already approved the four-way stop. So I tell you all that, tell you this. I don't know where your financial situation is. I'm out of the loop. But it can be done. I think y'all can do one roundabout and a four-way stop, and to me, that's a good compromise. And I just want to remind you of that. That's what Blake Tillery told. He said they might slap you on the wrist, but you've improved both intersections. So that's all I wanted to say. I want to remind you. If you're in a bind for money, I don't know, that's an alternative for y'all to think about.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
I'd like to add to Mr. Wilson's remarks. And I appreciate him and what he's done, and the information he's given you is accurate as far as he knows, and the information that he's been given. When this thing started, I found out that Joey Hires, Georgia Asphalt down in Baxley, had built the roundabout at Jekyll and had built the roundabout at St. Simon's Island. His crew was out at the airport working. I said, I understand you're an authority on roundabouts. He said, well, I've built a few. I said, I'd like you to do me a favor. I'd like you to go to both sites and look at it and come back and give me an estimate of what do you think it would cost to build a roundabout at the two stations, the two roundabouts. He was gone 2 or 3 days, and he came back and he said, Mayor, I've looked at both of them, and I've done this before. I can build both roundabouts for you for $250,000. I said, well, that's sort of what I thought. That's spending that kind of money on two areas there. So he told me that he could do that, and with the $250,000 grant, I knew that we had to have some engineering supervision, and I was dealing with Kenny Green, and we were talking about that. He was here working on another project, and I said, just out of curiosity, the way that Mr. Hires says he can build those, can you draw up the plans to meet the criteria for DOT for the grant to be in compliance with that figure? He said, yes, sir, I can. I said, how much would you charge me? He said, $17,000. So before all this came into being, I had a very legitimate contractor, very substantial, just doing a $3 million job, to tell me that he could put both roundabouts in there for $250,000. Well, Tommy came back, and like I say, everything Hofstadter, me communicated with him, he's related exactly as Carl has given it to him. But when Tommy, it was the very last few days that Tommy was sitting right there. He was sick, and he came in, and I have no problem with Mr. Officer. I don't have any obligation to him or anything against him at all. But I knew when we, and I agreed, somebody made the motion, all of us voted to, we were courteous of our comrade who'd been here with us for several years, to proceed with Hofstadter and designing it and to go on with it, because that was one of his last requests. And I was a team player, I voted for it. Well, I knew then that when Hofstadter got through with the design, exactly what was going to happen when I raised my hand that night. I knew there wouldn't be no way in the world you could take Carl Hofstadter's design and come up with those two roundabouts. But I was playing ball. I went to Carl later. I said, Carl, it may not have all the bells and whistles. It'll be sturdy like the one in Jacob, but Joey Hires told me he could build those two for $250. I want, with your expertise and for your services and all, I think the city would put another $100,000 to meet your specs and criteria. I said, I want you and Joey to get together, and if he's not telling you something that you understand will be two substantial installations, I want you to come tell me, Bane, it won't fly. If what he's telling you and how he will build them will fly, I want you, please, to you and him get your heads together and build these two roundabouts. He said, boss, that's why boss, I'll do it. They got together and came back, and in the conclusion, with his specs and everything, they're estimating it's $361,000, which is $161,000 over of our portion of the money. And but I called Joey back in. I said, now, are you satisfied with you and Carl? And oh yeah, by the way, I said, now, Carl, about this money, how does it work? We have to, some state inspector come in and say, no, the spec said that this is supposed to be here. He says, well, look, boss, I got all that handled. He says, as soon as you move a spoonful of dirt at both places, and this is repeating him almost identical, they'll send Ms. Bernice a check for $250,000, and then as we build it, you pay them. So we don't have somebody coming back and say, no, you didn't do this, or put on this little fancy thing. They send the check, and she disperses it as the invoices come in. I've called Joey back in. He said, Mayor, I still believe I can build them cheaper than that, but I'll do a good job, and we'll all work together and build the two roundabouts. So that's the reason we have made the motion and where we are. The contract's been let with the pre-construction. We've had all the utilities are being relocated at no cost, and they've all working together with us. We're having a pre-construction hearing Monday morning, and we're fixing, as soon as the last school bus leaves out there on the last day of school, we fix to start building two roundabouts. Any discussion with the council?
Yeah, can we proceed with the agenda, please?
Back to your discussion of the roundabouts, according to your figures, it says it's $111,000 that would be over.
You're
that
correct.
we'd be doing.
Thank you, buddy.
Can we be back to a fact, or can we approach Blake Tillery about after the fact thing? Is there a possibility? I'm trying to learn up here.
we can certainly try, but now keep in mind that it's probably not going to fly, because he knows we're, just like Tommy said, we are a T-Splosh county. That's our district, Middle Georgia, RDC, and that area, voted in the extra 1%, and we've got 25% of that fund as discretionary funds, and we do have that. That's where the little ace in the hole I got. We've got a place to go get some money on our T-Splosh that will help us do that. So I think we've all suffered with this thing enough.
Well, it's ironic that Tommy came up here to tell us that today, because just this week I did tell a lady that has brought the subject up more than one time, that I thought we'd beat that dead horse to death, and I didn't think we was going to get him brought back to life with any kind of CPR. That's what I mean.
Okay, I think we need to adhere to our Honorable John Bloodworth and proceed.
Amen.
Thank you.
The first item is to approve the 2018-219 ballot election for GMA district officers. And through the years, our own Mr. Griffin has exceeded in representing us with the Georgia Municipal Association and has done well. He is past District 9 president. He knows the politics and the things with GMA and has represented the city well in that area. Plus, while we're at the GMA convention down in Savannah next month, they've got a special election and they're asking us to elect a delegate to represent the city in this area. I want to do two things. I want to ask Mr. Griffin if he will, and I feel sure he will, if he'll see that our wishes and our ballot approval is submitted to GMA, and in turn, if he will sit in the chair representing the city of Hazelhurst at the business meeting. I believe it's on Sunday, isn't it? Sunday afternoon. Will you represent us in handling both of these items?
I will.
Gentlemen, I ask that we make a motion that Mr. Griffin handle these responsibilities.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Johnson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Represent us, Mr. Griffin. All right. We don't have a,
Yes, sir.
Yes, we do?
We do.
All right, well, excuse me then, we're going to number 2, which those of you that were here in the work session.
Number 3.
3, excuse me, wherever, 3.
Mr. Leggett returned from his training this afternoon and met with me in my office. Coincidentally, or by chance, he ran up with Utility Vision men while he was at training. And, of course, they had some talks, and he let them know that the council would be willing to meet, but they would want to do it at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, like we do our meetings. So they are just waiting on us. They're going to send about 3 tentative dates. It will be at 6 o'clock in the afternoon to not inconvenience those that are working. And we will have to have a call meeting to meet with them. So that's the update. He's talked with them. We're waiting on the 3 dates, and we'll set up the meeting time.
Okay, for those of you that might not have been here, briefly, we've got a contract with this company to refurbish, paint, and maintain our water tanks. Getting up to that height and handling all that's an expensive ordeal, and we've got some questions about the money. We've put about $100,000 in it. We've got to put more because it takes that to redo water tanks. But it's a questionable item with us, and we're gonna have a meeting about it. Any questions? Being none, we'll move along. Fire Chief Wasden, I believe you're on for item 4 and item 5.
Yeah.
Mr. Johnson's trying to say something.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, y'all, please forgive me, but back to that, number 3, I know we put going on, Mr. Mayor, but what just exactly are you gonna do? Because we really need to set that date now. They're gonna give you the date, and then you're gonna pick a day, and then let us
Pick
know?
one of them and then call, see which one y'all like the best.
Okay.
They'll give us 3 choices that we can select, then we'll get the one that we like best, and we'll Bernice and I'll.
That's fine, we don't have to meet again to decide on a date.
No.
That's what I was talking,
No, they're
because I
gonna give us
wanted
3
to get
dates,
it
and
done
y'all
before
gonna tell
then.
me, we'll poll y'all and see which one y'all like the best, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, thank you, I'm sorry.
All right, I think that's it. Okay, Chief, go ahead with item number 4.
Okay, item 4 is the discussion and approval of the fire and life safety codes that we've talked about. I think y'all digested as much as you can. We just asked for your approval to move forward with this project. I think it's gonna be something that's gonna be positive for the city of Hazelhurst in the coming years. So, just ask for your approval on this.
All right, I entertain a motion relative to approving the fire code.
Make a motion to approve.
Wait a minute, hold on just a minute, let's do it this way, if you don't mind.
I move to approve the request from the fire department to indicate the Explorer program as presented by the fire department.
Whoa, that's not what we, that's
That's
not
one
the
you
one. I know, no,
John was doing...
That's next
time.
John was
Right.
doing correct.
okay, all right, I thought.
I got handed instructions.
I thought that was the one on this one, John.
Well, just wait, what I did there.
Both, both Johns, I apologize to you.
You're the next.
Mr. Bloodworth, will you proceed with your motion?
I don't know what I was saying now.
It was good, though, go ahead.
We approved the life codes for the fire department.
Okay, is there a second?
Second the motion.
Second, okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Charles has got this thing up, and got it here for me to make sure that it was written in that sort of form, and I thought I was following instructions too, so I'm sorry. Okay, now then, let me know when you get to that, will you please?
Yeah, Charles, point to me when you want that made.
Next.
Okay. Or wait a minute.
Item number 5, we've approved item 4, so item number 5 is the approval of the scout program for the fire
And
department.
this, is this the motion you want now?
Yes, sir.
I move to approve the request from the fire department to indicate the Explorer program is presented by the fire department and the Boy Scouts of America.
Is that it? Is there a second to the motion?
Okay.
Second by Mr. Griffin. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for the for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is carried. All right, proceed.
The next 3 items deal with training. The first item is to allow our Secretary, Brandy Miller, to go to Palm Coast, Florida. And you may say, Palm Coast, Florida. Our software that we use is fire programs. That's where they're at. And she would have to go there she's actually starting to learn our program. Our program that we've had for years, and we've used the fire reporting part of it to the state, but there's a lot in there that we've not been using that we can use that prints tons of reports. We just have never had anybody that could dedicate their time to do that. Also, we're fixing to move to a whole new version of it, and that training would actually train her on the version as well. The cost is the dates are June 6th and 7th, and I have not got confirmation I can get her in this class, because these classes are very, there's only 20 students per class. So I may not even be able to get her in this class. I don't have confirmation on that yet, so we have to wait and do it again at the next time. But I'm trying to get her in as quick as possible before we get the new version. The new version will come to us in the fall. So we would like for her to have training on it before we get the new version and install it into our system.
Okay, I entertain a motion, gentlemen, to...
You want the price?
Pardon?
You want the price?
Yeah.
Okay. The cost is $495 for the class, plus the lodging, and the medium lodging in that area is about $100 a night. So that's the cost.
Okay, I entertain a motion that we allow Ms. Miller to go for the training in Palm Coast, Florida.
Unless I have any objections, I'm gonna put all 3 of the training motions in together.
Good.
I move that, the training be approved for all 3 that, are wishing to be trained. That would be, Dustin, Brian, Chief, and Brandy.
I
And
second.
various things.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve all 3. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I want to make this, this is one reason I was going to try to handle that first one separate. I've had the occasion this week, council and members of the group, that Ms. Miller has been up here in the office and worked with me on some projects that impressed me. Her computer skills are about as good as I've seen.
You didn't tell him that we were gonna transfer her to the...
No, the mayor can't have her. He's done tried that. He's done tried to swindle me out of it. I said, no, sir, you can't have her.
Let me tell you what, and I think Brandy deserves this, and you tell her that we did it. That lady has computer skills or something else. She picked up some things in the office and some other things that I've been trying to get done for months around here that were outside of some of the other things. But at any rate, the lady is indeed a very qualified young lady, and has the right personality, so I'm glad to have her with the city.
Yes, sir.
That's one reason I would not handle that separate, but I got to do it anyway.
Real quick to clarify number 8, I will be with y'all at GMA, but I will be in the capacity of the Fire Chiefs Association running the booth. My cost, other than meals, will be picked up by the Chiefs Association, so my motel and all that will be picked up by the Chiefs Association. I will just have to deal with the meals, but that's my capacity of being at the GMA conference this year.
Well, now, did you say that you'll have to deal with the meals?
Yes, sir.
Council, I think we ought to make some provisions for the man. He's representing us as a state officer, and other things, so I think we need to make some provision. I entertain a motion relative to it. Some of you folks, y'all, I've made a mess or two, let somebody else try it one time.
I move that all of the, meals and subsidies be taken care of for Chief Wasserman while they're representing us.
Okay? And it's second by Mr. Bloodworth. All right, in other words, reimbursement for all meals. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We've got that
Thank you.
taken care of.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief. All right. Okay,
Chief Williams asked me to handle this.
you gonna handle number 9 or Mr. Bloodworth?
Did he mention it to you, Councilman?
Yeah, but you go ahead.
Okay.
You're fine.
Randy Robertson, who is our DARE officer, for the school systems, will be attending training in Helen, Georgia, June the 18th through the 22nd, and he's asking for approval. This is for the training, the hotel, and meal expense.
Okay, entertain the motion that we approve the training for Officer Robertson.
Make a motion that, Officer Robertson attends training in Helen.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Johnson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yeah.
Hearing none, the motion's carried. Okay, you've got the 2 months council minutes there. If you read them, if you have, I'd like to entertain a motion that we approve the 2 sets of minutes.
All the motion.
Mr. Johnson?
I got an amendment on the February, 15th one. I want, it added in there that, John Ramey was absent due to required meeting in Athens.
Okay, Ms. Lopez, can you get that in there, please?
If we're gonna do that, we might as well amend March 2nd too there, where I was absent.
There you go.
Okay.
No, we can't amend that one, that was the other one. Never mind, go ahead.
Which one you want amended, buddy?
We'll wait till next time, we'll have to amend it.
Okay.
I've been waiting on this one for a while.
All right, gentlemen, you have, somebody made that motion that we, accept the amendment
And seconded.
and seconded. Okay, we're, ready for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, now then, it's approved. Any opposed? No, it's approved. Okay, let's see, we need to vote to approve the minutes as amended.
As amended.
You make the motion, sir?
So moved.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? Hearing not, I call for the vote. All in favor of approving the minutes as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, but they're approved as amended. All right, you've got the water and sewer report, the adjustments. What was the amount of the adjustment? I looked at it and I forgot. What's the amount? Somebody got it right in front of you?
Water loss was,
900, water 800 and, yeah.
Public Works was
933. Which is the right sizable adjustment, but sometimes we have to make those adjustments.
Yep.
Okay, I entertain a motion that we approve the water and sewer garbage report and also the water and sewer adjustments.
I'll make a motion.
Motion's made, is there a second?
Second.
And seconded, is there further discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the vote, motion's carried. The check register, have you had a chance to look over the expenditures? I don't know whether you checked with your insert of your report from our accountant, but I hope that you have. Our financial position is getting better each month, and I am tickled to death. Okay, I entertain a motion that we approve the check register.
Offer motion.
Motion's made, is there a second? Second by Mr. Bloodworth. Any discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The check register and expenditures are approved. We're now ready for citizens' comments. Yes, sir.
Cleanup day, kind of a little summary.
Okay. You're not, are you a citizen now, or?
Or maybe we should talk about roundups first. All right, I passed around the sheet. We did approximately about 30 projects, and I put some pictures, some of the major ones on the board, and this is the before, and when you go around town, you can definitely see the after. And we're going to try to get some publicity into the paper next week or the next. I think this was the first time we did it, the first annual, and I think we've learned a lot. So y'all have a whole year to look at your area to come up with projects for next year, okay? And overall, I think it was a total success, and, you know, the only thing I think y'all need to think about is we need to have some kind of cookout for the employees, because they did an outstanding job, and that's something I need want y'all to kind of think about.
That'd be a great idea.
Okay. And,
Is the council involved too with the cookout?
yes, they're the cooks.
Oh, they're the
The
cooks.
cooks.
I don't have a problem with that either.
Okay. All right, any questions about it? Because, we did a super job based on throwing it together as quick as we did, and we had some good participation, especially at the last meeting that we had, so next year, we should double. And so, yes, sir.
At your meeting, those meetings now is gonna be voluntary for the community? How did that work?
Yeah,
Because I think it was good.
well, what we
And I
did
had a
is,
lot of people
Dwayne,
inquiring.
we kind of turned it over to the Chamber of Commerce
Mm-hmm.
to kind of get it out, and we really should have started a little bit earlier, but anyway, we learned. Next year, yes, we're gonna get with churches, we're gonna get with organizations. I had several different organizations that really didn't know anything about it until we had the veterans come up and just ask, what can we do? And the mayor come up with a couple of projects for them. So,
Okay.
next year, we'll start 2 months in advance, and by then, we should have, the thing is, you guys have got to come up with projects in your area
Yeah.
to get done. So that's what you need to do
Right.
for next year. Okay?
Thank you, Charles. I too, am extremely pleased with what we got done. When I got this idea and threw it out to get us to do this, I said Hazelhurst, Jeff Davis County Cleanup Week, and we went to the county and the Chamber of Commerce and several places and announced that what we were trying to do. And I'm, with anything to be this successful and work this well, we don't need to say anything but something positive, but you know me, every now and then I'm gonna upset the apple cart. The county called and said, I don't know anything about it, what is this, what is this? I said, well, I've talked to you about it, and it was mentioned in the chamber meeting where you and I were there, all over town. Well, I don't know what it is, but at any rate, during the week, the only thing that I know of that the county did was they dumped about 200 tires on us out there, and just trailer loads of tires. That we took tires, and we're going to either have a machine to come in and grind them or dispose of them at a reduced rate. Carl Leggett has got with me. There's a grant for disposing of them, plus there's one company, I think, that will put them all up for, I don't think it's tractor tires, and they even put some of those out there with the rims on it. We kind of got the shaft on the tire business, but we're going to handle it either through a grant or get this company to come in that will pay, we want to charge about $1 a piece, where normally it's $4 or $5. So we're going to handle it, and next time I would certainly like, if you all got any influence with the county commissioners, I think they need to be involved as well, but besides just piling 2 or 3 truckloads of tires on us. Neighbor, what do you think about the ditch being pulled down by your place? The water will run down the ditch, won't it?
Yes, sir.
Good to have you here. All right. Okay, we're still on citizens' comments. Okay, Councilman?
Well, I want to commend, Mr. Harrell, the mayor, and the council, on the cleanup. I know I had several individuals in Ward 1 to come and ask, what's going on, Dwayne, what y'all doing? And they was very enthused, and the old building that's gone made a difference. And I think that's why I want to know, once we get started next year, where I can maybe put some of their help, muscles in on it also. But you be commended, and I think that you all done a good job. And those places in Ward 1, it really helped.
I want to say the same thing. I come in late at the game toward the end of the cleanup, but I had a few projects I had to it, and they took care of it.
Well, the people that did the work stopped here.
Yeah.
But we want to say thank you to them.
Absolutely.
I think that'd be a great idea though for us to have a cookout for them. That'd give me a chance to get back on there cooking again. I can play like I was in the ag. I think I can find a coon, a possum or something.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
Just all excuse.
Don't put the head in there and they won't know.
That's right. I don't know, the feet are pretty telltale too.
Yeah, they are.
You tell them that once you grind up all the meat, you don't make hamburger out of it, that you really didn't know the difference in it. It was only the,
Mr. Amy, we don't need all
I
that.
won't be there that night.
I was gonna say, we're moving at the end of business.
It's the coyote you gotta worry about. Okay, gentlemen, council, y'all got anything you wanna put before the council?
Charles, good job in heading that up and everything for the cleanup, and appreciate it. The ones of y'all that were involved, that are department heads and everything else, tell you people, we do appreciate it and everything else. And like I said, I think it was a good success, and I think it will be better next year. I really do, with more exposure.
And next year, gentlemen, if you would, let's, also these projects, and where we had equipment, labor, and everything, the city, we put forth all this effort to get this done. We'd also like to encourage the people, let that week be their week for beautifying, improving their own property, to get out and do some trimming and say, you know, this week is cleanup. So not only looking at this, but looking at their own property. If they need to get some help, bring in their kids or neighbors or whatever. And it needs to be a community spirit type thing. So let's just keep working and struggling, and I think we can get more people involved, and we certainly need to keep our town and county. We've got, at this time, we've got some of our budgets in. Some have done well in getting them in, getting them in early, and, or not necessarily early, we're late now. But at any rate, we are working hard on getting the budget ready. We'll have to have next month. I think if we'll all get on the ball, I think with a special call meeting, or maybe even a short second call meeting, I think we can get our budget approved in plenty of time.
Well,
We're working in that direction.
we need to take and have the budgets here, that they are pre-posed and everything at the work session next time. No if, no and, no but.
I think we'll have it before then. I don't think we can
Well,
have
we
it.
need to look at it, and then we need to take and make sure we all can look at it at the work session and whatever else. If there's any tweaks we need to make, we got about 3 days to do it before we need to approve it. I know we have to the end of June,
Well,
we can call
I think we're gonna have the first, as I said, a first full call meeting to really sit down and all of us hash it out and what we're proposing and so forth, and then, maybe the little 30-minute one later, after the work session and get it done. But I do believe that we will accomplish our, getting our budget in order before, the deadline of the 30th day of June. Okay, anything else, council?
I'm good.
Mr. Johnson?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.